Muirhead here again, founder of Purple Co, the Purpose for People company, and jomuirhead.com. I'm sharing with you on how we can break the cycle of negative reinforcement that appears to occur so naturally in our brains, and then use this awesome capacity we have for reinforcement and turn it for something good, using our powers for good as opposed to using our powers for bad, to ensure that we are reinforcing the right evidence, the evidence that tells us we can change, we can have a different life, we can stop being a victim to our circumstances. Did you see my previous video? If not, I suggest you take a look at it because I break this cycle down really simply in a way that lots of people can understand. It's such a helpful tool. If you haven't seen this video, then simply click on the link below this video screen. That's that easy. Collecting the right evidence, the evidence that will reinforce for you that you know how to change, you know how to make a good decision, that you're a good mum, that you know that you can have a great day, that you're somebody worth listening to, or that pain doesn't have to equal harm. When you start focusing on this evidence, that you have what it takes, that you know how to push through, it's so important for us because we will then be able to pick up the book on a day when we're not having such a great day and go, I know how to do this. The evidence tells me I know how to do this. But it's not enough for us to simply be told by someone else that you're okay, that you're doing good. I know when people have said this to me and I've been in a bit of a funk or not feeling so good, I've just wanted to slap them. Now, I don't condone the slapping, but you get my point. Sometimes hearing it from other people just doesn't cut it because we're so focused on the negative in our head. We know it needs to come from somewhere inside of us. And until we catch a hold of the goodness that we have and the goodness that we are, doesn't matter how many times someone else tells us, we're not going to believe them. We know from psychology and human behavior research that what we focus on is what we're going to get. So it stands to reason then that the more we focus on the bad stuff, the negative stuff, then the more of it will come to us. So we're actually creating our future through our attitudes, beliefs, and actions.
The Book of Evidence, Transforming Lives. In the last video, I showed you how I was so focused on what I considered to be a poor recruitment decision that I let this stop me from growing my private practice for well over 12 months. It was during this time I was actually trying to make my private practice go away. I desperately wanted to do and be something else because this one experience I let tell me that I was a bad practitioner, I was a bad business owner, and of course I wasn't at all entrepreneurial. Yeah, I know it sounds dramatic and nonsensical, but that's because I'm in the here and the now. But for me, when I stopped thinking of that one bad experience and focused on the 20 years of good experiences and reread all the thank you cards from previous employees and colleagues, the performance appraisals from previous employers, the emails, the cards and the notes, when I focused on this even for a short while, I reasoned that, hey, I actually know how to make more good recruitment decisions than I know how to make bad ones. This, as you know from video 1, has led me to grow a thriving private practice. But what I have learned from my experience as a business owner, mentor and rehabilitation counsellor is that people tend to create this need for lots and lots of external validation. We seem to only listen to someone else tell us when we're good enough or when we've done something well. And while I'm the first person to admit that this is really nice to hear, it's not so great for the empowerment of our clients, our colleagues, staff and the people we love. In fact, it can become quite needy. And that's not the goal we have for our clients and the people we love, to actually create needy people. People think they need external validation of their goodness, of their success. Now, both as a rehabilitation counsellor and as a business mentor, I have spent a lot of time reminding my clients of the good they have done, the goals they have achieved, the barriers they have broken down, the gains they have made. I don't want people to need me for this. I want people to become empowered to learn how to do this for themselves. Now, I'm not saying that a business mentor or rehabilitation counsellor isn't a good idea. I am, however, saying that in my desire to serve people with excellence, I know that when you can grab a hold of all the good you have inside of you and focus on the good you have done in your past, this will frame your reality. Let me give you an example. I had the privilege of working with a young man in his 30s who had become an incomplete paraplegic following a fall through a roof. He lived in a regional community and at the time was living with his long-term partner and his young child. After 12 months of rehabilitation counselling focused on building the next steps in career and earning capacity, I started to notice that nothing was shifting and that the barriers being presented really didn't make a lot of sense. What I was able to understand was that this man was a building designer and that he had been a big part of the building design team of the roof that he fell through. Not only was he living with partial paralysis, pain, continence difficulties, poor mobility, pain, adjustment to a whole load of changes to his lifestyle, he was carrying around this belief that he couldn't make good choices or good decisions and that he was no good at the thing he had studied and learned about for so many years. This pattern of belief to his attitude to action resulted in this man feeling incapable of caring for his child, decompensating in his daily activities, poor decision making, and became an expert in analysis paralysis. That is, the fear of making any decision. So I created for him his own version of the Book of Evidence. This was a true copy and paste experience with many hours spent with me cutting with scissors and pasting with glue into a journal for him. It was his rehabilitation homework to write down at least 3 things per day that he remembered he had done well or did well that day. They could be anything. There was no filter. I encouraged him to reread emails, text messages, to dig out photo albums, to not only write but also glue in a picture, reminders, to talk about feelings, sensations, experiences. You see, I can't in all good conscience keep a client in rehabilitation services. I don't have that type of practice. My role is to facilitate in the next stage of empowerment and help people take back control of their lives. This book was such a powerful tool. In the space of 4 weeks, this gentleman had had enough evidence to withdraw from services of his own volition. He knew that he had what it took to become a father to his son, the father he wanted to be, and it was his next goal to go and learn how to do that, using his Book of Evidence to keep him focused. This is after more than 12 months of rehabilitation counselling intervention. He didn't need me anymore, and he had all that he needed in his local community because he went out and created the supports that he needed. I have seen this Book of Evidence change many, many lives. It's really a very powerful tool. How do you think you would feel knowing that you have this reference, this book that you can take with you everywhere and anywhere, and when you are fearful, doubting, concerned, about to take a risk, you can easily and quickly call up this evidence and not spend hours trawling through your Facebook newsfeed trying to come up with something that inspires you? How about you inspire you?
Hi, Jo again. What if you could give your clients something tangible for their homework and help them take ownership of this part of their treatment and therapy so that you could focus on the more important aspects of their therapy? As a business mentor, I don't want to be the ongoing source of inspiration for my clients. I know I inspire people, but I want to give them something to grab a hold of so that they can be inspiring themselves and go and do and be more than I have ever done or been. This makes my heart sing, and this is why all my clients are given their own personal copy of the Book of Evidence. In the next video, I'll show you how the book works and how easily it can be incorporated into your life and the lives of your clients. Now, for those of you who don't want to wait until the next video, there's a link in this video below the screen, not on the screen. You can go onto this link and it will take you to some great information about the Book of Evidence, including how you can order your very own copy.